Now stop me if you've heard this one before. A comedian, mostly known for his role in a double-act sketch comedy duo, decides to get into the horror game and comes out with a debut feature film only to just so happen to knock it out the park on their very first try and create one of the best horror movies of the year that may very well go on to garner a reputation as a stone cold classic. No, I'm not talking about Jordan Peele, but rather Curry Barker, one half of the YouTube comedy sketch duo That's a Bad Idea alongside his friend Cooper Tomlinson. You see, recently Curry wrote, directed and starred in his first feature film and just straight up dropped it out there for everyone for free on the That's a Bad Idea YouTube channel. Made for only $800 and with a cast mostly made up of Curry, Cooper and their other friends, the film Milk and Cereal is up there right now. Just totally available for anyone to watch, sandwiched between the usual skits and comedy shenanigans the channel is known for, and oh my god is it good. Now I'm probably not doing myself any favours algorithmically speaking, covering a movie you can literally instantly watch for free through the search bar just above me. After all, it's not like you have much to lose just watching it yourself, considering the only investment it requires is just over an hour of your time. And you could just quit out of this now and go watch it. So what do you need this video for? It's not like I need to spend the next 10 minutes or so convincing you that the merits of this thing are worth the price of a ticket or streaming subscription, but hopefully that should tell you how great I thought this movie was. Because even taking into account that my opening paragraph could cause a huge drop in retention, as I am essentially advocating for you to leave my video and go watch Curry's, even when considering that, I literally couldn't stop myself from talking about this one. It is inspirationally good, and any horror movie made this cheap, this well, deserves to be spotlighted and celebrated. In case you are somehow still not convinced though, please allow me to make my spoiler-free case as to why this film is one of the year's very best. Milk and Cereal is a sort of found footage movie. I say sort of because some of the ordering in which the footage is presented, as well as the occasional on-screen graphic, imply that this is an edited video, even within the context of the narrative it is presented within. Something that, by the film's conclusion, offers up an even more sinister reading of its events. The film follows friends Seven and Milk, two housemates who together run one of those insufferable YouTube prank channels where they essentially torture each other for clicks and engagement. The movie opens with Seven documenting his plans to, with the help of his and Milk's friends, prank Milk on his birthday. Immediately, you get a sense of how far the two of them are willing to go in pursuit of views when Seven's jovial fun little prank begins with him buying a gun from a shady dude in a van he found off of Craigslist. The plan is simple. The gun is to be loaded with blanks, another friend is fitted with a blood-squirting squib, a stranger, in the form of an actor Seven has hired, will arrive at the party carrying the gun and after a staged heated argument will shoot the guest with the squib in front of Milk, giving the poor lad a jolly old scare for the camera. What could possibly go wrong? Now, I don't want to give away much more than that, but what I will say is from this compelling hook, Milk and Cereal regularly keeps viewers guessing with various smart turns that take the narrative in interesting and compelling new directions, while also often recontextualizing everything you have seen come before, creating what is often a genuinely unpredictable and cleverly plotted thrill ride into darker and darker territory. Tension is rife from the beginning of the film. The early introduction of a gun feeling like a ticking time bomb just waiting to explode in the faces of characters treating it like a humorous toy. But the ways in which tension is paid off rarely occurs in the manner you're anticipating, and the writing is a legitimately impressive display of tightrope walking, regularly shooting off in unexpected directions while still feeling like the correct payoff to all of the build that came before it, and never feeling so out of left field as to be farcical. Everything as well is grounded in this immersive and believable reality. Though the actors mostly consist of Curry's close friends, no one feels like a weak link, and their naturalistic performances as these influencer-brained and irresponsible group of emotionally immature adults, along with the kind of slapdash camera work and frenetic editing style that so often populates this toxic corner of online content that this film's narrative resides in, further anchors the film in this recognizable familiarity. What Milk and Cereal presents you with isn't the kind of thing you won't have stumbled across on YouTube before. It's just that world taken to its logical and horrifying extreme. The characters, the ideas, the presentation of Milk and Cereal might be callous and cruel, but they aren't far-fetched. This representation of using the misery of others as lowest common denominator entertainment, made cheaply, quickly, and without empathy, should in isolation feel like some dystopian unreality, a window into a world which surely cannot and definitely should not exist, yet it is regrettably easy to find this exact kind of thing in droves, plaguing every monetizable corner of the internet. And accompanying those, the many headlines referring to injuries, incidents, and even deaths related to some horrible occurrence of a YouTube prank going wrong. Milk and Cereal finds the horror that is already inherent within this little subculture, and then simply places it at the forefront of its story. It asks of its viewers, what kind of person is encouraged by the championing of this kind of joyful cruelty? And the answer it comes to is complete fucking psychopaths. And while wrestling with this idea, Curry and his team have crafted something truly special, a clear passion project feature film, without an ounce of fat to be trimmed from its runtime, made on an almost non-existent budget, the vast majority of which went on buying a camera and paying for one professional actor outside of their friend group. Everything else seemingly coming from the pure collective desire of a friend group wanting to make something cool. The credits on this thing are crazy short, with many of the same names repeated. Curry himself wore multiple hats as not only writer, director and star, but also editor and composer. And let me be clear, this would be an impressive debut if there had been a decent budget. It'd be impressive as a theatrical or premium streaming release. This is not good for a low budget effort or good for a free YouTube film. It's just good, full stop. As a found footage film, I'd even go so far as to say it's destined to be considered an out-and-out classic within the genre as time goes on. It does everything that presentation style should do perfectly. It utilises the format in a way that feels crucial to the story they are telling. It finds a valid narrative excuse for the cameras to always be filming, because of course these guys would document everything. It uses the presentation of its narrative in a new and interesting way we haven't really seen before. And as a horror, it's a well-crafted creepfest led by a wonderfully disturbed performance, compelling writing, great pacing, solid scares, and it even has something to say. I have almost nothing bad to comment on with this thing. I suppose if you really wanted to nitpick it, you could maybe argue that there's one scene in a desert where a character should probably question the presence of a camera but doesn't, or that one character late in the film discovers an address they need in a fairly convenient manner. You could even maybe argue that it breaks the gimmick of being found footage because of the way it is edited, but you'd be missing the forest for the trees. Those first 2 points are a real non-issue, and the third, by the film's conclusion, I'd argue actually adds a pretty huge implication to the final frames of the film, that it feels like a clearly calculated creative choice rather than an oversight. But it wouldn't matter anyway, because the long and short of it is that Milk and Cereal is just a fantastic horror film. It's the kind of horror film that makes you want to make horror films, it's so good. And it's just there, now, for free. And if I haven't convinced you to watch it by now, well, I don't know what else to tell you. Hey, thanks for watching. Patreon shoutouts this week go to Mez Love, Garnet Frizzle, and Steve. If you'd like to support the channel and join these wonderful names, or any of the names in the credits you're seeing right now, then you can do so by becoming a patron at the link in the description. You can also support me by subscribing to my OnlyDans at the red button below, and don't forget to like if you enjoyed the video, and comment with your thoughts. See you next time.